This is one of my favorite times on Harvest when Randy Z comes on over. He's the proprietor of Edwards Christian Barbecue and always has something good for us, something that's healthy and something that's easy to make and it's going to blow your family away. And today, Randy, you've chosen to go south and do some southern po'-boys, some salmon po'-boys.
Salmon po'-boys. I love po'-boys.
Tell us about the po'-boy. We've heard of them. We know that New Orleans features them quite a bit, but where'd the name get its origin?
Legend has it back during the Depression that because of the food situation, so many people out of work, there was a baker that would make bread, and he would feed the guys and the families and stuff. And then one of his workers one time, they couldn't make it last, so they were stuffing them with potatoes.
So bread stuffed with potatoes during the Depression.
During the Depression. So one of his workers one time said, "Hey Johnny, you better make another sandwich. Here comes another po'-boy," in their accent. So that's where the po'-boy came from. And then as we got out of that era and we could afford things again, then they started stuffing them with shrimp po'-boys and oyster po'-boys and everything else. So
today we've graduated to the salmon po'-boy.
Well, around here we're going to do a little salmon po'-boy.
So what makes a sandwich a po'-boy?
Well, actually, I've even seen them deli sandwiches called po'-boy, and that's just not right. I believe that you got to have the Cajun flair to it, the seasoning, which we're going to do right now. We have some salmon over here and a Cajun blend of spice that I make myself. And I'm going to keep skin on. I like cooking it with the skin on.
Okay, so it's just a nice little piece of salmon steak?
Yeah.
Or fillet?
It was a fillet. I cut into steaks. I always buy them whole and do my own thing to them. You save money that way. Buy the whole.
You're layering that on pretty thick there.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's Cajun, man. I'm going to wake you up. So we're going to lay this in the grill. We're going to go about 7 minutes on one side. I like cooking more on the skin side.
Okay.
And then
skin
flip
side
it over
down
for
first?
only a couple minutes. Yep.
Always skin side down first?
Yes, sir.
Why is that?
Just because it's going to take that flavor, it's going to crust that skin, and you're going to be able to turn it over easier. And you want not to burn the top so much and burn up all my seasoning. So if I go 5 and 5 on that, I'm going to roach out some of my seasoning. If I go 3/4 on the skin side, the skin's going to be like it's a little armor plate. And it's going to hold it down. So
season your salmon with some good old Cajun seasoning, skin side down on the grill.
Yep. And then we have just a big hoagie here. I like on a big po'-boy, instead of biting it and squishing it all out the sides, I like taking it and hollowing the top out like a canoe.
Okay, look at that.
Now that's going to give us a room when we go down on top of all those toppings.
Everything
it's not
stays
squishing
inside.
out the top. So
you know what you're doing, don't you? You've done this before.
I try to pretend like I do. So here I got a half a stick of butter and a teaspoon of garlic powder.
Okay.
If you will whisk that together, that's what we're going to put on our bread, and then we're going to toast that bread up. And I'm started to make a slaw. I've used a half a cup of cucumbers, and I've got 2 radishes sliced up really thin. And we've got 5 basil leaves here we're going to throw in here. And this isn't going to be a slaw like you would have with mayonnaise. We're just going to use the pickle relish. We're going to use its own juices for that flavor. And
that's some fresh basil there, which is available now.
It's pretty much year-round. That's what I love about cooking now, is I can get everything basically year-round with shipping the way it is now. So we're going to throw all this in a big old bowl. I like bigger bowl, gives you more room to work. We're going to put all this together and just set it off to the side and let it meld. So in this too, I'm going to use 2 cups.
Let me ask you something. We saw you manipulating the cucumber a little bit. You took the seeds out. Why is that?
Well, there's a lot of water right here, and I just don't want the seeds in there because I am going to add a teaspoon of celery seed for some flavor.
Okay.
And I don't want the water as you go with your cucumbers and use them in dishes if you don't seed some of them. If you marinate it or you're doing a sour cream dill situation, then when you come back to it the next day, it's just soup.
Liquefied.
Yeah, so especially if you salt it, that salt's going to bring out the liquid, and I really didn't want to do that either.
All these little tips and tricks you're getting on the Harvest Show.
So,
you don't get that online. You don't get that on for YouTube.
Well, I try to just make it as simple as possible. I don't want to confuse anybody. So here, just a bell pepper, going to slice it up too. Now, a lot of po'-boys will just be lettuce. They'll be lettuce, mayonnaise, tomatoes.
Yeah.
And you know I'm not normal.
This is upscale here.
Yeah. So instead of tomatoes here, we're going to use peaches, which I'll throw on the grill. Nick, going to do a grilled peach on this po'-boy. So we got a 1/4 of our pepper in there.
Now you're going to grill the peaches.
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
Oh, well, remember
what does that do?
We've done grilled watermelon before.
We have, and I've done that at home. Kids have loved it.
Just brings out the caramelization of everything. Okay. So I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of that relish, and I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of the juice of that relish.
That looks like homemade relish.
Nope, that's not. I'll have to. I'm not going to lie to you. No. Okay. Mine, I just got done canning all mine 2 weeks ago, and I will not open mine for 2 months. I want all the flavors to meld up really good. And then we got a cup here of arugula. And we just took off the biggest parts of the stems. Now the arugula is going to give it a little pepperly flavor.
Yeah.
And so now instead of just a plain lettuce, we got a lot of crunch, a lot of flavors going on in here.
And color.
And color
Talk
too.
about the color.
Valerie loves the color.
Yeah, beautiful.
So I'm sure I'll have to make one of these, put it in the refrigerator for her.
I'll have to
Set
save
that
one
off
for
to the
Val.
side.
I was gonna say.
So our salmon's on there now. We got our bread. I'm gonna toast up our bread on the grill a little bit.
Your salmon is still skin side down.
Skin side down.
It's about 5-6 minutes on that?
Yep, about 7, depending on the
7?
heat. You want medium-high heat, not high heat. If you can go low and slow, because I'm a smoke and barbecue kind of guy, I always like low and slow. It's just give you a little better flavor. You're not going to dry it out so much. So I'm just going to lay these on the back.
Alrighty, and you got a wonderful new contraption there called
those are grill grates.
A grill grate.
You know, this ain't an infomercial,
right?
But this is a $6,000 grill. And as soon as I got turned on to these through the National Barbecue Association that I belong to, I went out and got a set. And this is what they are, brand new.
And that keeps you from flaming up.
No flame ups, infrared heat style,
Beautiful.
condenses the heat, cooks, doesn't stick hardly at all. They are just awesome, and you order them to size of your grill, so they're really cool. That's a great accessory. You know, I've always said before that the food industry is like the golf industry. It's the most gimmicky thing there is. Yeah. You know, if you can't cook, you can't cook. That grate's not going to make you any better, but what that grate does is definitely makes it not so difficult for you. So a little olive
bit
oil
of olive oil there,
Yep.
and there go your peaches on the grill.
Yeah, just put 3 of those on there. Set off my cucumber.
Now, I haven't been, you don't know this, but I haven't done like carbs and starches for about a week and a half now.
Well, hey, I can make this, I take it off the bread. I'll just give you an open-faced po'-boy.
Open-faced po'-boy.
Open-faced po'-boy. You got the slaw on there, and you know, if you're worried about the sauce, now this
No, that's good.
This sauce here, as I said, they would use mayonnaise.
There's no sugar in there.
Just half a teaspoon. There you go. Okay, half teaspoon of sugar, half and half ranch dressing, half mayo, whatever ratio you want, tablespoon of honey, and a teaspoon of paprika.
Okay.
Whip all that up, and it just gives you a different flavor profile.
Okay.
The heat is going to be in your salmon, and we want a little cooling agent, which is going to be this.
Yep.
It's going to cool that heat down a little bit, and then we want a little crunch, which is going to be over there.
Okay.
And then just a touch of garlic.
So you've got a whole orchestra of texture.
It's a party
of color,
on the grill. Yeah, everything.
Of flavor.
Yep, got that. Okay, so now I made this up before to save time. So we're all set there.
So this is your mayo, your ranch, your honey, your sugar, your paprika.
Yes, and that's good.
Friends, this is all going to be online at the Harvest Facebook page. You can go ahead and check out the recipe, make a copy, go get the ingredients. It's also available at harvest-tv.com, and make this for your significant other and loved ones at home. They're going to have a good day.
Well, you know, when you like fish and you want to eat lighter, but you're tired of the fish, you know, just the same old way all the time, this is a great way. It's a great lunch sandwich. You know, you can make a couple of them. That's a good sized sandwich. You cut that in half, you know, and I actually make a couple extra, put them in the refrigerator. When I get home late from an event or something, I'll go to the fridge, you know, I'll just take that out, and I like it cold. I mean, it's no different than eating tuna.
Right.
You got a great salmon, good flavor. There's no reason it has to be hot. It's a great cold sandwich after the fact, too. So it's something to think about there.
And it's good for you.
It's, oh yeah, it's nothing
Salmon's
wrong with
got a lot of good fish oils in it, low in fat.
So right there, gonna flip over our peaches right there.
Grilling the peaches.
And I'm just gonna brush that. I flipped it. I'm just gonna take a little bit of honey now. A little caramelization will happen while we close the lid. You want it lid down. Okay, so let's real quick talk about direct heat,
Let's
indirect
talk about
heat.
grilling. Okay.
This is direct heat, meaning I'm cooking right over the flames. If I was indirect heat, the flames would be on here and I'd be cooking over here. That's no different than an oven.
Okay.
So why would you do pulled pork butts in a smoker? Because you want the smoke flavor and you want to cook them for 16 hours. You don't want to put them in the oven and cook them for 4.
Right.
So indirect heat in a grill is just adding flavor. You know, it's just adding that flavor that's been going on in a grill for the whole time since you've had it. And it's just taking the heat outside in the summertime when you don't really want to heat up the kitchen doing a 4 or 5 hour cook. Go ahead and turn your grill into an oven. I use them in the wintertime even. You know, I'll go out and use it for an oven, or I'll hold something in it. I'm always constantly grilling outside, so it's always good.
Up or down on the cover, or what's the difference here? Does it matter?
Cover down, because, you know, heat rises. You want to trap that heat.
So you want to trap it in there.
Another little tip, too, is if you were doing a lot of things on your grill.
You might want to turn those buns over.
They're good.
They're about right. They're about right. Perfect.
That's you know, that's not in the trash can. That's a great charred flavor there too.
Yeah, nice char.
Another thing, if you're doing a lot of burgers,
someone's
following his nose. Keep them together. It traps the heat. Don't space your burgers out. Burger, 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 burger. Get them together, and you'll contain the heat better and cook faster that way.
Okay. We're learning a lot today on the science of grilling and the ins and outs and tips of the tricks of the trade.
Well, very few people know this, but Salmon Po-Boy was my original radio name. Yeah, I was working down in New Orleans
with the cheese.
With the cheese, and I said, son, you got to put some sauce on that po' boy there, and that's how I got started.
And the baseball came in, what, just fell out of the air and hit you in the head,
Yeah.
right?
That would explain a lot, wouldn't it?
Yep, I probably could. All right, so our salmon's gonna be still cooked there. I'm gonna pull off our peaches here gently. You like that? Looks like Paul Bunyan's fork, how it slides in those grill grapes. That's pretty cool. Okay, I'm gonna lay those down. Now, traditionally, that would have been a tomato, but you know I'm not traditional.
Look at that.
That's all right.
Look, it's amazing. Look at the color. Look at the crunch.
Sauce on salmon the other night. It was outstanding.
Yep, so now I'm gonna take the skin off of here.
Skin comes off.
Yep.
It kind of peels right off the bottom.
It does.
It's all crispified.
Slide that right off of there.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this guy.
Lay that down
now
on there.
that's for two, right? I mean,
Well, it will be
cut
today.
I'll cut it in half, don't worry.
no, seriously. I mean, this is a large piece of salmon.
You wouldn't get that out of Valerie's hand if she was here, you know it, so you guys can share it.
Just,
So now we're just gonna pile this on there.
there.
You know, it's kind of like barbecue, I say. If it's not messy, it's not barbecue. So we got a good pile on there going on. Put our lid on like we talked. Now that's gonna see how that holds that up in there in that canoe style that we talked about.
Yeah, yeah.
Now take that so you guys don't fight over
All right.
it.
Chuck, you do the honors, sir.
All right.
You have at it. I'm going to
Very
ask
good.
Mr. Randy one more question
You
here.
keep talking.
I don't know what. Chuck
Labor
went
Day
after it.
coming up.
Oh yeah.
Big family day, big outdoor day.
Yeah.
What does Randy Z cook for his family on Labor Day? What do you guys do?
Well, I'll do whatever I can catch, trap or find or anything. But this year, I'm going to show you what I'm doing because I'll be here on the show and I'm going to do crab cakes Benedict.
Ooh, wow.
Now, you know I'm weird, so why eggs Benedict?
Not eggs
It's crab
Benedict.
cakes Benedict.
Crab
with a
cakes
nice
Benedict.
papaya, grilled papaya,
Oh, come
pineapple
on.
sauce.
Now, where am I going to find papaya around here?
I found
At
it
your
at the
local
market
store.
here, the local store.
Yeah. How's it tasting?
Well, it tastes. I said it tastes good.
Okay. All right, Salmon. I'm going
There's
to
a fork over there if you don't want the bun.
I'm going
Take
to take the bun off. Yep, and I'm going to go sans bun, and we're going to go to Brian Bush here in just a moment after. Hopefully, we can get the po' boy out of Charles Freeby's mouth, so he can talk to Brian Bush.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Okay. Brian might have to do all the talking again. Thank you, Randy Z.
No problem.
Salmon Po-Boy. You don't see it anywhere else but on Harvest, and the recipe is also on harvest-tv.com.